Here we go. Here it is.
Brisbane husband and wife Terry and Eleanor McNally first met 35 years ago when they were both working in the Navy. 10 years later, Terry suffered a leg injury and was medically discharged, changing their lives overnight.
We only had, was it a couple of weeks to get out of the marriage quarter? So, because once you leave, that's it. That's not your home. There's another service person that can go into that. So it was like we had to pack up our life really, really quickly.
It's like going on holiday, isn't it? You land somewhere, the first thing you're going to do is go, what am I used to? Oh, a bar. Or I'm looking for the swimming pool. You've already focused on what you want to do when you get there. So when I landed here, I went, okay, I can't find anything familiar that I can hold on. There's no lifeline. Someone please say there's a boat round the corner, or there's a museum with a Navy person in it, or do you know what I mean? There was just no, there was no continuity in life for me in that respect. I felt as I was cut off. The big metal doors was closed behind me. So for 12 months, I was just like in a dark place.
With each other's support, Terry and Eleanor made it through this tough transition. But tragically for many, this isn't the case. On average, one Australian veteran dies by suicide every 2 weeks.
Yeah, so if you go into artwork.
Since 2016, Terry and Eleanor have been on a mission to reduce these figures through their own coffee roasting social enterprise. 3 Elements Coffee distribute premium blends to cafes and customers all over Australia, with a portion of all profits going to companies that support veterans and their families.
We're not asking you to put money in a tin and it goes missing. We're giving you value for what you put your money in the tin for.
One of the main causes supported by these profits is PTSD Resurrected, an organisation founded by Afghanistan veteran Andy Cullen and his wife Zoe.
So is that like an old jail?
Yeah.
When I got out, I realised that it took a bigger toll than I probably expected it would throughout my service, and that was really mentally and emotionally, as well as the physical tolls that a life in service will take on your body. It was my mind and my spirit that was probably traumatised the most.
Andy was a completely different person. He just struggled with family life and all that entailed. But I think there was a lot of self-medicating to block out nightmares and things like that, and all the impacts that that had on the family. So the alcoholism, and I mean, it's pretty dark.
I still didn't seek help until really Zoe sat me down and said, hey, this is becoming unbearable. You need to get help. If you don't, we're done. We're not going to make it. And I think a lot of families in these circumstances probably get to that point. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of colleagues separate as a result of trauma or PTSD and the impact of that on marriages. So I made that decision at that point to start getting help. We learnt a lot through that process, and we realised that a lot of the struggling and the pain that we went through as a family could have been avoided if we had just known what was happening and maybe some real tools and steps of how to deal with it.
Andy and Zoe took the hard-earned lessons from their journey and distilled them into a 4-day Reboot Course. The funds raised by 3 Elements Coffee allow the course to be delivered free of charge to veterans, first responders and their families.
I think the thing that people like the most about the course is it's delivered by veterans and first responders for veterans and first responders, so it's that peer-supported program. We're not health professionals, it's not white coats and
It's not clinical in any way.
officers. It's about working through a program that has proven medical success, delivered by a community of caring people that have an understanding of the experience that they're dealing with.
While Andy and Zoe give veterans hope by bringing them together, a major hurdle in settling into post-service life is re-engaging with the wider community and workforce.
And did you say that was a double shot on that? There's a double shot.
To help veterans make this transition, 3 Elements Coffee provide free barista training and business advice, as well as loaning out a range of fully equipped coffee carts and vans.
They might not all want to have things to do with coffee, but what it does, it gets them into the community. They're talking to people. They can see, you know, what's out there, whatever, can't they? Like we've had some veterans that'll move on, buy their own coffee business. Some people will do that for a year or so. Some people just for months, and then they move on. So it's just something to do until they get back on their feet.
Good morning. I am a little bit excited right now.
One of the hundreds of veterans to benefit from Terry and Eleanor's support is former Special Forces Commando Tim Thomas, who spent a year running his own drive-through coffee shop and rediscovering his zest for life.
The veteran community is interesting because one thing that can happen in the veteran space is they create anti-social social groups. So social groups that they can be themselves around these particular part of society, but they can't be themselves anywhere else. 3 Elements Coffee got me out of the veteran scene into the civilian scene, but on my terms.
Is decaf!
I found myself really enjoying face-to-face with civilians, and I could see that they were enjoying it. And obviously, my drills in the Army, I was very proficient at what I did. It was like a softer landing spot.
You just sat there and just dropped off you. So much has happened during COVID where people have felt isolated. If people can reflect on being isolated during COVID, that'll be the reflection of what a lot of veterans go through when they leave the Defence Force. We're willing to put ourselves on the line for Australia. When we come home, we just want people to say, hey, we'll give you a go. We'll buy you coffee.